Hey y'all, it's your girl Gemini Jazz with House of Chiron, and we are back with another episode of Galactic Gossip. Welcome into my channel. Welcome back if you are returning. But if you are, in fact, new to my channel, allow me to reintroduce myself. I am Gemini Jazz, the owner of House of Chiron, where we do all things astrology, Reiki, and mental wellness. I am also a spiritual coach. So, if you are looking for any of those things, I am your girl. All right. So, with that being said, if you are new, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you will not miss a beat. And if you are returning to my channel, then you already know how we do. Welcome back. I hope last month was good for you. All right. So, before we dive into the month of October's chaotic and crazy up and down roller coaster energy, have a few quick announcements. So we still have the Celestial City that remains open for membership. So if you are looking for a space where you can share your thoughts and your ideas and your soul with a like-minded community, the Celestial City is that place to be. You can get Reiki once a month. You can get your astrology readings. I do readings for all 12 signs. We go into deep detail over all the major transits for the month. Also, you get 10% discount on all of House of Chiron services. You also get free PDFs, and sometimes we get free books, and then we have a community chat. It's kind of like our mini Facebook that we've created. So you get all of that information and all of those wonderful things for $33 per month. So if you are looking for that, go ahead and hit that description box below and find the link to join the membership. All right. Also, the Chiron candles are going to be placed on hold. We had an issue with our wick manufacturer, so I'm going to be putting those on hold. But in the meantime, I will be launching the wax melts, and those will be going on sale and they will be posted on the website this month of October. Okay. So, the actual candles will be put on hold, but the wax melts will be out there very soon. All right. Also, we have the end of year reading, or excuse me, the yearly readings. So the 2022 readings, those are going to be added to the site here on YouTube, so you can access those. So I will be posting that. So keep watch of that. So it's just the remaining portion of the year that's really relevant, but you can still listen to the entire year focus for 2022 to kind of see where some things hit or miss for you in those readings, and then also just get a outlook for October, November, and December, because the 2023 readings will be posting in December. So keep watch on that also. All right. Well, that's all the announcements that I have for right now. No, I have a really big announcement. What am I doing? So my really huge announcement that I'm really, really excited about is that House of Chiron is expanding, um, which is always a great thing. It says that, the reach that I have is, becoming bigger, and I'm actually, able to target and talk to and connect with people that actually need the services and the offerings that I provide. So with that being said, all that good stuff, we are actually expanding the company. So we now have an intern. We have an astrology intern who is also my virtual assistant. Her name is Jenna, and she is amazing. She has graduated from level 1 and 2 of Deborah Silverman's astrology course. So she is ready to do the astrology readings. Of course, she's now gaining her experience before she goes and just dive head in. So, in the meantime, if you cannot reach me and you need something, you have Jenna. You can find her information on the website. Also, I will have her email and things linked below. Um, yeah, she's phenomenal. She's amazing. And also, I have her bio on the website so you can learn more about her and all of her things and whatnot. She is in school, double majoring in psychology and library. I can't remember what the actual term is, but I know she wants to have her own library. So that's dope. And merge the two, but also still doing astrology. So I think it's really cool that our paths align in some essence. So yeah, I can just keep talking about her. She's a really great individual. She's really dope. Um, she's a Pisces sun and she's a double Libra moon and rising. So she's really like, Venusian. We both are ruled by Venus. So it vibes well. It's good. It's good energy over here. So anyway, that's my big announcement. Go ahead and learn more about Jenna. You can navigate your way over to my website and read her bio and reach out to her and all that good stuff. So there you have it. And also, we are rebranding. So we're getting more, um, I'm not going to say niche down because, I'm a manifesting generator. It's kind of hard for me to niche down. But we're, getting things in order when it comes to House of Chiron, all the legality. So you might see some changes and whatnot here and there, but ultimately we are, expanding and organizing, right? Especially with Mercury retrograding through my sixth and my fifth house, and it is ruling my second and my fifth house also. So, that is a thing. But anyway, so those are my announcements, and I don't think I have anything else. So let's go ahead and dive right on into this October intuitive astrology forecast. Okay. So just a quick overview of what is to come. So as soon as the month of October begins, it's spooky season this month. Mercury is stepping off of our necks and it stations direct. So Mercury begins to, that it began its retrograde movement, its cycle, while it was in the diplomatic sign of Libra, and then it slid back into the DMs of Virgo. That's funny. So, it's just tying up loose ends on those things that we failed to focus on, those minor details like, Virgo wants us to do. And so in the following week, Pluto will then station direct is going to follow suit, and then we'll have some forward movement into that. As soon as Mercury goes direct, I'm gonna be happy because I'll be able to articulate my words. But anywho, um, so after, that Pluto is going to station direct, and then we are going to be feeling a little bit lighter and things are going to become more transparent, especially when it's time for us to set plans into action, and whatnot, especially towards the end of the month when Saturn stations direct as well this month. So talking a little bit about the lunar cycles. So the lunar cycles this month are going to be pretty intense, I'm going to say, because both of the moons are ruled by either Mars or Pluto or both, right? So that's going on. So they both actually rule, you know what I mean, by all that. So with that, it's going to be very intense, right? So starting off, we have the cardinal full moon in Aries, right? So that is there and it's here to help us heal, right? Because it's making that conjunction to the wounded healer, which is Chiron. So you have to kind of lean into the healing, right? The full moon theme is all about surrendering to the hurt in order for us to heal. And the new moon this month is going to be an eclipse, right? And it's the start of eclipse season. So we've been experiencing the eclipses since 2021 in the axis of Taurus and Scorpio. So this is, going to be a continuation of this. So it's almost 2 years of eclipses being like in this energy, especially with the north and south node being there. So it's activating those nodes as well. So Scorpio season will not only hold the start of eclipse season, but Jupiter is going to journey back into Pisces for its final run through before it completes the show through Aries in 2023. And then we have Mars stationing retrograde, where it's going to take a break from the battle that we've been fighting, but not really. It's not really taking a break from the battle. It's just causing us to take a break, rest, go inward. So we might not feel as energetic as we normally do, especially during the retrograde motion of Mars. But that's ideal, especially because the winter season is approaching, and winter is all about introspection and rest and whatnot. Rejuvenate yourself. So there you have it. Now, also this month, let's talk about the chakra focus, what's going on with that. So, October, we're going to focus on our lower chakras, right? Getting that root, sacral, and solar plexus back in order, getting it recalibrated during the month, especially with this intense energy of the eclipse season approaching. So, we might feel a little off kiltered a little bit. We might not feel as connected, or rooted is the better word. We might not feel as rooted as we need to, with so much intensity going on. So both of the primary lunar cycles of this month are ruled by Mars, right, which plays a major role in the lower three chakras, right? So at the start of spooky season, the Aries full moon, like I was just previously talking about, is here to give us the confidence to release what no longer aligns, right? And also pursue our deepest desires, all while trying to embrace the healing by leaning into the hurt, understanding it, embracing it, all of those things. So that's what this root chakra is going to help us remain grounded, so that way we keep our sense of safety and security even through the toughest times of healing. So then towards the end of the month, we are being invited to experience an intensely life-changing Scorpio new moon, right? It's a solar eclipse. And so, keeping that in mind, that these two are both ruled by Mars. And, traditional astrology, Scorpio was ruled by Mars. It's also ruled by Pluto. So just kind of keep that in mind, that Pluto is stationing direct this month as well. So really strong focus on that root chakra. Especially being the first the energy source in the chakra system. And so wherever there is an imbalance in that, or whenever there's an imbalance in the root chakra, we can physically and emotionally be impacted by that, right? The root chakra is what keeps us grounded, feeling safe in our core, and very much so rooted, in ourself. And then that sacral chakra is the second energy source in the chakra system. So that is going to be providing our creative and sexual energy, very charged, passionate energy from all of that. Sacral chakra energy is what we have, our creativity, our what we can create, right? It's our passions. And so with that Aries energy and with that Scorpio new moon, it's going to be really charging that area as well. And then that solar plexus, right, is right above your navel, and that's the third chakra. And that assists with our inner self confidence. So sometimes when we get thrown off, it can kind of shake our sense of confidence. And so the ability to stay true to ourselves, because we just kind of go into the survival mode. And so that comes from that root. So making sure that these lower three chakras are connected and they are balanced and that you're paying attention to them is going to help us really navigate the intensity of eclipse season, not just October, but just throughout, right? All right. So sometimes when we are having these issues, we can experience physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, issues and problems when any of those chakras are not balanced, or if they're blocked, or they're imbalanced, or overactive, or underactive, so to speak. Okay. So if you want more information on that, you can go ahead and check out my website. I have a full explanation on the chakras and what you may experience. During this time, if you are having any blockages or imbalances within those lower three chakras. I'll also give some stones and crystals, some scents and herbs, and a monthly mantra to work with during this month to help you navigate this energy. All right, so now let's get into the monthly transits. Okay, so first and foremost, Mercury, like I was saying before, it's going to station direct at 24 degrees in the sign of Virgo on October 2nd. And so Mercury is stationing after its movement backwards, first from Libra and now Virgo. All right, so as it stations to slowly increase speed and move forward, it's going to be opposed Neptune. So Mercury direct typically comes with insight and clarity, and it still might have some clarity. We might have some inspiration. We might get creative, but that opposition to Neptune is telling us to take it easy, process information slowly, and tap into the intuition to feel our way through whatever may be murky. So Mercury is going to be picking up speed and be in entirely, out of its shadow phase until October 15th of this month. So take your time with implementing new things, making major decisions, or large purchases at this time. There might be some things coming up with that. So just kind of take your time to kind of move back into the normal flow of things. And keep in mind that we must work on our limbic and nervous systems because, still Mercury rules our nervous system. Make sure you're practicing your deep belly breathing, journaling, slow flow movement. You can do yoga, pranayama. These are all helpful tools in order to stay grounded during this Mercury movement back into Virgo. Okay. So Pluto is stationing direct shortly after, just a couple of days later, think about 6 days later, at 26 degrees in Capricorn. This happens on October 8th. And so Pluto, let's talk about Pluto. Pluto governs our deepest desires, our ability to devote ourselves to a purpose or a cause, right? It's also our psychological state, it's our psyches. So being the planet of death, rebirth, transformation, transmutation, metamorphosis, right? Um, Pluto's retrograde cycle is coming to an end, right? And we begin to understand on a soul level why the endings that have occurred has actually happened, right? And that they are happening to push us to recreate new structures for our futures, right? Pluto in Capricorn. Pluto begins forward movement, and as it begins that forward movement, it's going to trine Mercury in Virgo. And so Mercury just went direct also. We just spoke about that. So it's going to be making a trine to Pluto. And we may be receiving significant insight, clarity, maybe even some transformative information or connections that assist us in moving forward on whatever path that lies ahead. All right. Now let's talk about this full moon that happens in the sign of Aries, right? So it's happening at 16 degrees in Aries on October 9th. And, October's full moon is coming packed with triggers. I'm going to say that. And it's not happening in the way that we all think, right? Our individual journey towards healing will come under the full illumination of this moon, just to show us what is still hidden in those shadows. So there's a lot of shadow work kind of energy that's happening. And that's because this full moon is making a conjunction to the wounded healer Chiron. We are likely to have a visit from, past traumas and past triggers in order to teach us the tools to effectively release the hurt that we've been holding on to because it's holding us back. Okay. Not saying that we have to forget or heal from it. Like there's no ending point of healing. It's always a cyclical thing. It's very layered. You think you got over one thing and then there's like a deeper layer to address, right? This thing is layered. It's forever. So either way, the moon is going to be making a sextile to Saturn, right, which is an Aquarius and is retrograde at this time. And this is going to help us stay grounded, especially our emotional space, right? And help us ground that emotional energy that's associated with this moon. Being less reactive, so to speak, right? Wow, I just realized I'm having a lunar return on a full moon. Yikes. Okay, so just realized that. So either way, this energy with this moon, it's emotionally charged, and it's going to be ultimately providing a sense of stability and security because of that sextile to Saturn. And so, as the sun is also there tugging for assistance from Saturn, right, because it's making a trine to Saturn, we can take the responsibility for our own healing journey by letting go of the need to control when or how the restoration actually happens, when it occurs, right? So, just releasing that need to control, facing the fears, right? Because that's Saturn ruled energy. Also, we need to realize that this, time, we're trying to control the timing of things, and time is not linear. It's actually a constraint. It's not even like a real thing. It's something man made that we created. So, for us to actually understand this space, understand this reality, we had to create something. All right. So, either way, I digress. We realize that time is not linear, and if we continue to try and control things, it's going to keep us in a box, especially if we're racing against time. Okay, now that's the full moon energy. Now, moving on to Mercury re entering into Libra. So it just stationed direct in the sign of Virgo, and now it is re entering into Libra, where it originally stationed to go retrograde. So this happens on October 10th, and it will continue its transit through the sign of Libra until October 29th. And so Mercury is, moving back into the space where it's stationed retrograde. So it's going to be revisiting those things that once came up while Mercury first entered the sign of Libra. So Mercury began this cycle last month. And after reviewing those fine details in Virgo, we are now able to be more diplomatic in our planning for the journey ahead. right? Our nervous energy is going to calm slightly over the next 3 weeks, but our indecision can increase, okay? Mercury is going to be opposing Jupiter in Aries, so it's going to be bringing a lot of opportunities, bringing out the truth of our path, the truth of ourselves, and how we relate to other people, and also the truth of our relationships and connections with other people, right? Because Libra. So that Jupiter opposition can lay out a complete presentation of the numerous opportunities that are, available to us, but we must not get in a space of valuing options over decisions, right? Over decisiveness, in most cases, right? So having the necessary conversations that we need to have, using our sense of discernment to make better decisions on the opportunities that are presenting themselves. Have those conversations with people, whether it's your intimate relationships, your, loved ones, your business partners, any associate, just kind of dig into those conversations and have them, so that way you can have a better idea of what needs to happen moving forward. Mercury in Libra is really ideal for negotiations. So negotiations might actually have a favorable outcome or a balanced result. Okay. So now moving forward, we have the sun making a conjunction to Venus at 29 degrees Libra. So it's happening at the anaretic degree on October 22nd. And this is known as the Venus star point. Okay. So Venus will align with the sun in the artsy, loving sign of Libra. So how can that be bad, right? It can't. So at this point, Venus is going to be shifting from the morning star into the evening star. Okay, and so while Venus harnesses the morning star energy, what we typically do, we exude our values, we exude beauty and love outwardly, right? So we express it to others, we're giving it to others, right? But as she transits into this night star, it's going to be more focused inward, right? So things like self love, self worth, self help, self development. It's going to be pushing us to understand what we need and what we truly value. So keep that in mind. It's very, conducive to it being fall and being, nearing winter at this point, to where we can actually go introspective. The fall, autumn is all about the harvest. So, reaping as we pour into others and as we plant seeds in others, what are we reaping from that? So very conducive to that energy as well. The blessings and love and money could also manifest with this energy, and an appreciation for all the beauty that is in our lives. Okay, so there's a little bit more background on this energy, and it's really great. And I'm excited for it to move into this night star, the evening star energy, so we can really focus inward while we're going through this eclipse season and whatnot. Okay. So Saturn is going to station direct at 18 degrees in the sign of Aquarius, and this happens on October 22nd. And with Saturn stationing direct, it begins to release the chokehold that it's been having on Uranus. Like, I'm done. Get off of my ascendant. Like, that's just how I feel. I'm a Taurus ascendant. So Uranus is in my first house, and Saturn has been squaring my first house for too long. And I'm sick of it. I'm over it. Anywho, so we have been experiencing many restrictions, changes, and challenges between Saturn and Uranus, because they've been squared up, trying to fight each other this entire time. And so Saturn is now stationing direct, but is first initially stationed retrograde on June 4th, the day before Mercury stationed direct, right? So Mercury was in retrograde, and at the time that it stationed as it stationed retrograde, and then Mercury stationed direct right after. So when Saturn is stationing direct this month, it's going to be square Uranus, and it's going to be making a nice trine to Mercury, which just recently stationed direct in Virgo, but it's now in the sign of Libra. So that trine to Mercury is all about paying out harmony, diplomacy, justice, and balanced results, right? Saturn likes to bless you with gifts if you have been disciplined and you've been doing your work, and you've been, focused and devoted and motivated, right? So the work that we've been putting in while Saturn has been retrograding is going to be yielding positive results as the station's direct. So Saturn, keep in mind, it rules karma and it also rules conditioned fear. So facing our fears while remaining disciplined to the task at hand is going to benefit us in the long run. Saturn recognizes all of that, right? So we're going to see all of that come through. Right. Then the next day, Venus is going to enter into Scorpio. So this happens October 3rd, October 23rd, and Venus will be in the sign of Scorpio until November 16th. So Venus and the Sun are both entering Scorpio only hours apart on this day. Okay. So they're going to be traveling through the sign of Scorpio for the most part of Scorpio season. So they're going to be staying in a very close connection, and this is going to be providing us a deep sense of sacred guidance. Okay. It's like traveling with your father through the underworld. Like, yes, I'm scared, but ultimately I feel safer because you're here. That kind of thing. So as we travel through Scorpio season, yes, it's going to be the beginning of eclipse season, but Venus is adding an element of ease to what is typically very transformative and very chaotic, right? A very chaotic time of year. Very intense is a better word than chaotic, but very intense time of year. Okay. Now, like I was saying, the sun is entering into Scorpio also on the 23rd, and this is the start of Scorpio season. So happy solar return to all of you Scorpios out there. And so it will be Scorpio season until November 22nd. So this means what? Spooky season is here. I'm lit. So this transition into the darkness invites us inward, right? Down the rabbit hole into our psyches. With Scorpio season coming, with eclipse season, Mars retrograde and Jupiter revisiting Pisces, we have many changes, transformations, metamorphoses to look forward to this season. But depending on your outlook on these things determines your physical experience, right? So if you see this as a fearful thing, then that just might be what you experience this season. So as the sun progresses through Scorpio, it's going to make this conjunction to the south node while it's opposing the north node. So we may experience this emptying out kind of vibe, that's long overdue for release, allowing those outdated karmic and past situations to transition on. Maybe not to be rebirthed, but maybe reborn in something else. And this is ultimately going to create like a recalibration of our energy, our current existence. So we have to allow Scorpio season to do what it does, which is make life more meaningful and intentional if we allow the transformations to occur. Okay. Now, let's talk about this new moon eclipse, right? It's a new moon solar eclipse at 1 degree Scorpio. This is intense. Okay. This happens on October 25th. And so, besides the upcoming Mars retrograde, this is probably the creature feature of the spooky season. Okay. Eclipses always come packed with fated events that shape our current existence and then shift the trajectory of our future selves, right? So as it's occurring at 1 degree in Scorpio, this is indicating a new beginning, a new path. It's not precisely conjunct the South Node, but there's definitely a releasing and a facing of the fears. And more than likely, those facing of the fears has a lot to do with our self identity because of that 1 degree energy, right? The 1 degree is an Aries ruled degree. And it has a lot to do with our self identity, our image, our ability to be confident. So facing those fears, coming over them, especially with this dynamic new moon eclipse. Now, over the next 6 months, as we set our intentions under this, and it's typically not ideal to set intentions under the eclipses, but yeah, whatever. To each his own. If you do, great. If you don't, great. Whatever. So over the next 6 months, resolutions to those previous issues could come up. They could surface, right? New perspectives could form during this time, and our life direction can definitely pivot. So the ruler or the dispositor of this moon, both of them are making important aspects, intensifying the energies, right? So Mars and Pluto both rule Scorpio. So with Mars trining this eclipse, it's allowing us to take a calculated, or calculated action steps towards the intentions that we are setting. If you are setting intentions, that is, and Pluto is adding a bit of challenge to the dynamic because it's making a square, and so things hidden in the emotional space of ourselves could come to the surface. So we'll have to kind of like navigate through that. a little bit, but it's up to us to go through the shedding process in order to feel lighter on the journey ahead. Okay. So then we have Jupiter, which is retrograde and it's re entering back into Pisces, right? So this happens October 28th, and it will be transiting backwards through Pisces until December 20th before it moves back into Aries. So dips back into Pisces. And so Jupiter began its transit through Pisces back in May of 2021. And then it shifted into Aries a year later, May of 2022. And so Jupiter has not visited Aries over, it's been like 12 years. So the truth of our identities has not gone under such evaluation in quite some time, right? So we have been really evaluating and expanding who it is that we are, really coming to the truth of ourselves. And as Jupiter is the planet of expansion, luck, abundance, absolute truth, um, we're taking advantage of the many opportunities that it's offering us while it's in the sign of Aries. Now, Aries is all about war and, fighting energy and fire and all that kind of stuff. So maybe we can kind of get a little break from the tension that's been going on, the war of things has been going on. And as it moved back into Pisces, maybe we can revisit some peaceful solutions to, all the things that's going on in the world. Now, it needs to revisit some missed opportunities and some revelations that could possibly have gone missed or overlooked when it first went through Pisces. So we might see some things coming back, right? Those previous themes that are associated with Jupiter and Pisces could resurface, and we can get another glance and another look over and whatnot, from this transit. All right, so Mars is going to enter Scorpio on October 29th, and it will remain in the sign of Scorpio until November 17th. And this is happening to be, at the very end of the month, and it's going to do the majority of its transit while we are in the month of November. So I'll probably have to do like a revisit of this in the month of November. But Mercury is moving into this energy that's all about the deep layers of our minds, right? And it's going to begin to probe an excavation of what's hidden beneath the surface, right? It's a lot of probing energy going on this month. So Mercury is in Scorpio and it's intense, it's investigative, and it's revealing. And the day that Mercury shifts from Libra to Scorpio, it's going to be trining Mars, which is in Gemini. So this is adding more to the mental energy of this transit. Tap into your parasympathetic nervous system, do your deep belly breathing, make sure you are in that rest state as much as you possibly can, or if you ever feel triggered. Okay, so we will be able to see what actions need to be taken. And we will also have a clear view of what has been hidden in plain sight all along, right? Mercury is going to be sextiling the moon also while it's in the sign of Scorpio, but the moon is in Capricorn at the time that it's stationed, at the time that it moves into Scorpio. So this is going to be helping us to remain practical and grounded in our pursuits, in our ideas, in the way we communicate. Okay, and although we get off to a decent start, Mercury adds tension with this T square energy that's going to be happening between Saturn and Uranus once November begins. So we'll talk all about that in the month of November. So this could definitely bring previous tensions back for a final say so before Saturn moves on towards, Pisces. Okay. Now, Mars is stationing retrograde. It's the last little bit before we get into the reading for auto signs. So Mars is stationing retrograde at 25 degrees in Gemini. So this is the reason why Mars is going to be in the sign of Gemini for 7 months. So it's going to be retrograde from October 30th until January 12th. Okay, so Mars governs our energy source, how we take action on things. It's our confidence and what we fight for. And with a retrograde cycle extending this transit of Mars to the sign of Gemini, we're going to be getting a review of those themes that I just mentioned. So we may not be feeling as pumped and energetic towards the things that, used to ignite our fire, causing us to question our ability to stay motivated. So these are things that could come up over this time. Okay, Mars is going to be retrograde during, part of the fall or autumn season and also into the winter season. So it's that introspection time, right? And so It's truly a time to rest and review and relax with the winter approaching. And if we are not listening to the need to rest, then we may experience intense burnout. And we are being invited to address where we are expelling our energy, too much of our precious energy. We are putting our energy and focus into passions and goals. We got to ask ourselves that question: Are we putting them into our passions and our goals? Is that where we're focused? Um, are we protecting our power fiercely, right? We need to do that. Mars is, we'll give it a little history about Mars. Mars is depicted in ancient astrology as the god of war, right? So this what we identify Mars to be, right? It's like the army, so to speak. And when you think about the imagery of Mars, it is the god of war, riding on a chariot, with its two horses, Domina, which is terror, and Phobos, which translates to fear, right? So we can take that as a literal thing, right? We can allow our fears and the terror that's happening in our immediate environment, right? Gemini, and we can allow that to lead us astray. Gemini is also all about, um, fear-based agendas through social media, right? This is what this is also. So we can allow it to lead us astray, or we can use this. We can choose to let those fears take us to our purpose, right? We can tend to tap into our passions, right? To focus more on our purpose, our path, right? So, with Mars being in the sign of Gemini for so long, our mental capacity is very much so going to be triggered in a way that's going to expand and or challenge thought, right? So, we can ask ourselves, how are we perceiving our realities, our ourselves, our immediate environments, um, et cetera, et cetera. Um, how can we better relate to the world around us and everything that's within it? Um, Mars retrograde is really encouraging us to slow down and think from a space that actually lights you up, but not in a aggressive manner like normal Mars. So kind of review certain things. All right, so now let's get into the reading by sign. All right, so starting with Aries and Aries rising. Okay, so we're going to talk about the full moon. So the full moon in Aries that happens on October 9th is in your first house. Okay, so this is bringing a lot to a full culmination, shining a light on those things that were once hidden about how you see yourself, your self image, how you project your energy outwardly, right? Your sense of confidence. All of this is, being ignited and being illuminated at this time, especially with the moon ruling your fourth house, right? Which is Cancer. So has a lot to do with your sense of safety and stability and security, and maybe even your mother, your influential women that's in your life, and the influence that was placed in you, early childhood. And what has that done for your influence, right? What has that done for your confidence, your ability to see yourself clearly? The ruler of this moon is Mars, and it's Pluto. Mars is in Gemini, which is in your third house. So, communication, ideas, your perceptions of things, could be childhood, things also coming up. And with the fourth house, with the moon ruling your fourth house, has a lot to do with your traditions and your lineage, family karma, things like that. And also with Pluto being the ruler of this moon, and it's currently in your 10th house of Capricorn, has a lot to do with your public image as well. So something coming to a full culminating experience about that. It could be your public image, could be a shift in your social status, you know, something along those lines. Now we're also going to have this new moon that's happening in the sign of Scorpio, this new moon solar eclipse. And this is happening in your eighth house. Okay. So, with this new moon happening in your eighth house, it's an indication if you're looking to set your intentions, to set intentions about, joint finances, maybe your partner's money, maybe an increase in your partner's money. Maybe this is the indication of a new beginning, a new fated beginning towards your partner's finances or your own finances, the resources that you receive outside of yourself. It could be an inheritance. It could be something from like your lineage, right? With the moon ruling your fourth house, the sun is ruling your fifth house. Something from childhood, maybe something indicating a new path of, building a connection, deepening a bond with your children, within the home and family. The ruler of this moon is also is Mars. The ruler of this moon is Mars, and it's Pluto, right? Because it's Scorpio. So with it being there, Mars, excuse me, in your third house, it has a lot to do with, receiving information and whatnot. Also with the ruler being in your 10th house. Once again, it's that public image energy that's going on with you. Okay. Mars is going to station retrograde at the end of the month, and this is going to be in your third house. So you might not feel as ambitious or motivated towards, connecting with others, socializing, maybe building your small business, maybe learning something. It could have you also going back to old passions, and revisiting that, like picking up a book that you once put down, um, picking up something that you once picked up, like a trade or a skill that you were learning and you kind of like put it to the side, picking that back up. Maybe a passion of yours that you once did that requires you to move, maybe dancing, something like that. Third house energies. Okay, so with Mars ruling your first house, right? Mars is your chart ruler. Um, Also, Mars rules Scorpio. It's your eighth house. It has a lot to do with resources. So, um, there might be some things that come in where you might receive some information about a job, or you might receive some information about receiving some type of finances that come up this month, from an outside resource. It also could be like, getting information about loan forgiveness. Maybe it's eliminating a loan. That would be nice, right? So, keep that in mind. All right. Now, moving forward, Taurus and Taurus rising, we have the full moon that happens in Aries, and this is going to be in your 12th house. Okay. So, a full culminating experience about those things that are hidden, and the things that are unseen. This is a space of undoing. That's a lot of healing that's happening. So healing within your environment, something coming undone, maybe within your small business or within your immediate environment, maybe releasing something, right? The moon is the ruler of your third house, which is Cancer. So that could be something there, third house energies. It could be, letting go, or coming to a full head of some type of communication, using your throat chakra, talking about something, talking about healing. Maybe you are going to be receiving some information back, like from school or from something that you have been doing behind the scenes, right? Working on something behind the scenes, and it's coming to a full culminating experience where you're releasing something, you're letting it out. Maybe you're launching a new program or something along those lines. Okay, so then also we have this new moon that happens in the sign of Scorpio, and this is the new moon solar eclipse, and this is happening in your seventh house. So this is a time to set new intentions about your commitments to not only other people, but your overall commitments, right? It could be in business. What are you committing to? What are you really devoted to? Because it's in Scorpio, something that you're passionate about, right? The new moon, the sun and moon are together. They're in a conjunction, and the moon is the ruler of your third house. So, with the moon ruling your third house, that's Cancer. The sun is ruling your fourth house. That's home and family, right? That's Leo. So, small business, immediate environment, home and family, your grounded foundation, your influence, your sense of stability. So, maybe you're setting intentions about, expanding your relationship or signing a contract for business. You could be, looking to expand your business also. That could be something as well. So setting those intentions, and this is a definite new path to new commitments that are coming in. All right. So maybe even like getting a new employee or something like that. Mars is going to also station retrograde, and this is in your second house. So with Mars retrograding back through your second house, it's been, maybe you've been burning through money. So maybe you're going to be reviewing your finances and the money that you make. There also might be an opportunity for you to recommit to something, something coming back, maybe a stream of income, coming back around, or a new stream of income that could be coming, right? Especially with that new moon happening in your seventh house and Mars also ruling your seventh house. Mars is also the ruler of your 12th house. So it's something that is needed to come undone, so to speak, or being released, or something being dissolved. So that might be something. It could be like your partner's finances, or it could be an increase in some money, or just a complete shift in those things that's happening at this time. Okay. Now, for Gemini and Gemini rising, the full moon in Aries happens in your 11th house. And so, with the full moon happening in your 11th house, this is like a culmination coming to a head, a full illumination of your networking circles, your friendships. Some things might come to the surface about your friendships, or the people that you affiliate yourself with, maybe a large organization that you are associated with. You could have been starting a nonprofit, and that's coming to a full head of where you're able to receive a grant, or you're receiving some type of material gain for the work that you've been putting in over the last 6 months for this. The moon is the ruler of your second house. So this is finances, this is partnership, this is your values, right? So that's also something that could be coming up at this time for you. And then we have the new moon that happens at 1 degree in Scorpio. It's the solar eclipse, and it's in your sixth house. So this has a lot to do with your health and your work, your daily routines and your habits. So this is starting a new cycle, a faded new cycle about your daily habits, the work that you do, your health, even maybe getting on a health routine, health regimen, maybe making more money for the work that you do. Maybe even possibly having like some type of legal issue that's, kind of a new beginning of a new legal issue that's coming up, right? Like maybe going to court, some type of, um, contract, or something that has to do with money, with the moon ruling your second house, the sun ruling your third house, because they are both here in a conjunction. The sun is ruling your third house, right? That's Leo. So it might be information, it might be something about a vehicle, might have a lot to do with your daily commute, right? A new beginning about how you go about moving within your environment for the work that you do. Also, recognition, communication, things of that nature. And then Mars is going to station retrograde, right? And that is happening in your first house, right? So Mars is retrograding back through your first house. So you might be reviewing, your weight, your body, your overall health, how you project yourself. And you might not have that motivation that you once had. You might have to like figure out, if this is like a health issue that's going on, as to why you don't have the energy that you once had, or that you would like to have. So you really are becoming more focused and more active in your actual body, your health, right? Especially with Mars ruling your sixth house, Scorpio. Mars is also ruling your 11th house. So this could also indicate, things coming back up to surface about, friendship dynamics and hidden enemies, or open enemies, or people that you once worked with, really, initiating or having to review something that you initiated within like a networking circle or a large organization that you've created. All right. So moving on to Cancer and Cancer rising. All right. So for Cancer and Cancer rising, the full moon is happening. Full moon in Aries, excuse me, is happening in your 10th house. So this has a lot to do with your career and your social status, your public image, your responsibilities to the world. So a full culminating experience. You might be getting something, might be letting something go, something might be releasing, or you might be reaching a certain level of something. You might be receiving a raise, or some type of recognition from like an influential woman in your life, or at work, or something like that. The moon is the ruler of your first house, which is Cancer. So this is something that you are initiating, right? Maybe you are starting a new, or you are releasing a job at this time, because you are embarking on a new commitment, right? So that is also something that is possible. And then we have the new moon that happens in the sign of Scorpio, new moon solar eclipse in Scorpio, that happens in your fifth house. So this is a new beginning about, your relationship with your children, your sense of joy, your fun, your hobbies, maybe even romance, right? You might be meeting new potential partners at this time, and just really tapping back into what lights you up, right? Your sense of authenticity, being who it is that you are. And Also, keeping in mind that the sun and moon are in a conjunction. So the moon is the ruler of your first house. So this has a lot to do with how you are showing up, just really shifting your image. And then the sun ruling your second house. So it's like more so about you aligning to your actual values, right? So also this could indicate about you starting a new relationship or starting a new, commitment to have more fun and spark that joy in your life. Okay. And then we have Mars stationing retrograde at 25 degrees in Gemini. And this happens in your 12th house. And so, with Mars retrograding back through your 12th house, this might have a lot to do with, a lot to do with self sabotaging behaviors. You might be having really intense dreams. You might have been having issues with sleeping, having insomnia. That might be something that you have been experiencing during this time. So, you know, it might be a review of something that's coming up. You might start actively working on healing an aspect of yourself, healing your confidence, healing your public image, socializing more, getting yourself back out there, talking and connecting with people and really expressing that, but doing so behind the scenes, first and foremost within your own healing dynamics. Okay. Now, moving on to Leo and Leo rising. So this full moon in Aries is happening in your ninth house. And so this is a culminating experience about your path, your sense of adventure, where you are going, your journey, the truth of all things. Also, maybe mentorship. So it could be the ending of a mentorship, or you could be launching your own mentorship at this time. The moon is the ruler of your 12th house. So this is something that you've been working on behind the scenes. It could be something spiritual. It could be like a mentorship program, or you could be in school for something, and that coming out, or you're finishing it, is coming to an end. Especially with it being in your ninth house and the moon ruling your 12th house. Okay, and then we have the new moon solar eclipse in Scorpio in your fourth house that's happening. So this is a new intention about um, developing a new relationship, or revamping a relationship with your mom or influential women in your life. Also, you might be looking to set intentions towards, buying a home, or moving to a new location, building a new foundation, something along those lines, especially with the moon ruling your 12th house, something that's hidden, allowing certain things to come undone. So this might be a dissolving of certain aspects or certain mindsets when it comes to how you see women, or how you have seen your mom or influential women, healing that dynamic with your mom. Also, the sun is the ruler of your first house. So, this is something that you are initiating, and is also healing you, healing yourself as well. Okay, so then Mars is going to station retrograde in Gemini in your 11th house, and it's going to go backwards, and it's going to give you a review and, of those networking circles that you are affiliated with and that you connect with. Maybe your friendships also. Maybe you've been kind of like side eyeing certain connections that you have been, involved with, whether it's friendships or networking circles, whether it's in business or however. Um, and so there's going to be a review of all those things coming back up, to where you might not feel as charged about it, but some things might come back up to where, you have to reevaluate what you once cut out. Okay. So it might be some revisiting of certain themes, right? Especially with Mars ruling your ninth house. Also with the 11th house, it's like your material gain. So maybe you're looking to get back into another mentorship program, or you know, you might be receiving something, or you might be reviewing a mentorship program that you once took, and then how can you implement that into, something moving forward. Okay. So, Virgo and Virgo rising, we are having that full moon in Aries in your eighth house. So, this is a culmination of your resources, maybe even your partner's resources. So, joint finances, maybe karma, debt. It could be financial debt, even if it's not spiritual debt. So, just a releasing of this energy in Aries, really leaning into the healing the relationship on a financial sector of things, maybe even intimate relationships. It could be the culmination of like a intimate relationship as well. Not saying that it's ending, just saying that it's reaching a certain level and it's elevating into another. The moon is the ruler of your 11th house. So that's all about material gain. So it could be that your partner's receiving money, or they could be receiving like a new job, or something like that. And it brings in more finances. And so you could be experiencing that. Okay. And then we have this new moon solar eclipse in Scorpio that happens in your third house. And so with this new moon solar eclipse in your third house, um, this could very well indicate, a new point of like in small business. Maybe you're starting your own business. Maybe you are really working on it behind the scenes, paying attention, being really devoted, really focused, really ambitious towards it, right? That new moon energy, and it's an eclipse, so it's really intense and it's kind of faded energy, right? So with that third house energy also could indicate like a new vehicle, right? Moon is the ruler of your 11th house, which is about your material gains, things that you own, things that you earn. So also it could be that you're going to be, on a new phase or a new cycle, a new path towards connecting with your friendships, or socializing more, networking more in small business, networking with your friends that feel like siblings, or even networking with or talking with your siblings again, connecting on that level. Okay. And also, with the sun ruling your 12th house, it could be really like a death of the ego kind of energy, but also just healing as well, right? A really deep healing kind of connection is happening. So then Mars is going to station retrograde in Gemini in your 10th house. And so with Mars going retrograde, there's like a review, and just kind of like resting and taking a back space of the work, right? Also your public image. You're not going to be as charged of being out in the forefront. You're not going to feel as passionate about that. You're going to take a back seat. But also what this could indicate is that there's going to be a review of a career. You might be letting a career go. Letting something, like releasing something, releasing a debt also, with Mars ruling your 8th house, and it rules your 3rd house. So you might receive some information about that as well. You might receive some information about a debt that you owe, or something that is being paid off also. Okay. So Libra and Libra rising, the full moon in Aries is happening in your 7th house. So this is all about commitments and partnerships, right? So this is a culmination, a releasing. You can see the full picture of your partnerships, of your relationships. You can see how things are manifesting for you during this time, right? So this is like shining a light on what has been hidden. So with a Libra and Libra rising, you might be letting go of a relationship that is not necessarily beneficial for you. And I don't think this is something that you are actually initiating. It just might be like a mutual thing, since it's Libra, or it might be the other person. um the moon is the ruler of your 10th house. So this is definitely like shifting your social status. Now, also what this could indicate is that you're getting engaged, right? So some of you might be getting engaged, or you might be getting married during this time. And you could also, if it's not like an intimate relationship, this could be like a business connection where you're making new commitments in business, you're making new commitments in your career. And this is like a culmination of the work that you've previously put in, with the moon ruling your 10th house. Okay. And although it's in your 7th house, it's like, I have arrived to this moment kind of thing. Okay. So then you have the new moon solar eclipse in Scorpio in your 2nd house. So with this being in your 2nd house, this is a wonderful cycle for you to make money for yourself the way that you want. This is not resources that you get from a job or from loans or government. This is money that you create. This is revenue that you create. So this is a new cycle, a new faded cycle that is starting for you, where you are able to command your own, your own finances, and you're beginning this path, right? The moon is the ruler of your 10th house. So you might be starting your own business, you might be starting a new career, or you might just, become a contractor or some type of consultant, to where you are assisting, other people in that way. Okay. And maybe even like assisting yourself, and this is like making you money also. So with this, the moon ruling your 10th house, the sun is also here in this conjunction and it's ruling your 11th house. So with the sun ruling your 11th house, this is all about your material gains, right? Networking circles, your social networks, your social circles. So it's like being recognized from people in positions of authority and, maybe just starting something new, a new path, new career path that's bringing in money that you make for yourself. Okay, I think that's exciting, Libra. So Mars is stationing retrograde in Gemini in your ninth house. And so with Mars retrograde in your ninth house, this is like um, you taking your time, making sure that you're resting and you are not receiving burnout for all the things that you're learning. So whether you are in school at this time, you might be kind of like figuring out your schedule, figuring out your commitments, and maybe you are taking on too much, biting off more than you can chew. But at the same time, these things just can't be let go of. So you just have to kind of figure out a new way to commit to them. Especially with Mars ruling your seventh and your second house. It's about your commitments, it's about your money. Maybe even you're going to be receiving, more money from mentors or from like an internship, or you're going to be receiving finances from something that aligns to your path, something that you are directly doing also. But you have to, be cognizant that you're not overexerting yourself, right? When Mars is retrograde. All right, so Scorpio and Scorpio rising. The full moon in Aries happens in your sixth house of work, routines, your daily habits, your employees, your pets. And so, with this full moon happening in your sixth house, it could be a culminating experience of, the work that you do. Maybe you are releasing the work. Maybe you are, embarking on a new path. So, something must go. Also, your daily routines in association with like higher education and work also and needing to find a balance in that, like if you're in school. The moon is the ruler of your ninth house, so this also could indicate that you need to kind of shift your path, so to speak, or shift the work that you do because you are like traveling, right? You're going on a vacation, so this also could be something. But needing to organize your daily habits, and also this could indicate that this is a culminating experience of like your health regimen, right? So you're going to be on a new or coming to a head, more so illuminating the health issues that you once had, and you're recognizing how far you've come, right? So you go back to like Aries season during the Aries new moon, and you recognize the intentions that you set regarding your health, and now you can like look at how far you've come up into this point. Okay. Now we have this new moon solar eclipse that happens at 1 degree Scorpio in your first house. All right. So this is a new energy. So this is like fated changes happening directly to you. So you are completely shifting your identity, completely changing, completely on a new path over the next 6 months about how you show up. Right. So it's about the things that you initiate. It's about your confidence, how you are being devoted to yourself and to your initiatives and things of that nature. Especially with the moon ruling your ninth house, it has a lot to do with your path and your journey. It also could indicate that with the moon ruling your ninth house, it could indicate that you are, embarking on this new journey for higher education or maybe even mentorship. Okay. And with the sun being here, and the sun is the ruler of your 10th house, it has a lot to do with your career, your public image, maybe even your social status shifting. So this is a new beginning that's happening, and it's a fated new beginning. Okay. And then we have Mars stationing retrograde, excuse me, in Gemini in your eighth house. So this is going to be like a review of your partner's money, maybe even your own money, maybe like you and your partner, if you have like a partner, you have joint finances. So it could be that you are going to be having a financial review. Also, this could be an elimination of a debt that you have where you're paying out or paying money to this debt. Okay. Also with Mars ruling your sixth house, which is Aries, and it rules your first house, Scorpio. So with Mars, ruling you that house of work, it could be that you're going to be paying off a debt that you owe, or you're going to be receiving money from the work, or maybe your job owes you money and they're going to be paying it directly to you. These are all things that are possible. Um, Yes. So you could also just be actively really focused on eliminating a certain debt that you have, maybe a debt for like a legal situation that is coming up. Okay. Now we have Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising. This full moon in Aries is happening in your fifth house. And so, with this full moon happening in your fifth house, this is a culminating experience for your relationship with your children, really healing that inner child. It's illuminating that inner child work that you need to do, that you have to work on reparenting yourself. Also, maybe even a romantic partnership coming right during this time, or you releasing that aspect of it. That could be something where it's going to another level. The moon is the ruler of your eighth house, right, which is Cancer. So this could indicate, joint finances, shared resources. So with the moon ruling your eighth house, it could be, especially with it being in your fifth house and it ruling your eighth houses, might be where you are receiving like money for your children. That could be something. That might be a thing that comes up for someone specifically. And also this could be like you come into a full culmination of like what brings you joy, what lights you up on the inside. Getting back into your hobbies, getting back into your daily habits of fun, that kind of thing. All right. And then we have a new moon solar eclipse in Scorpio that happens in your 12th house. So setting new intentions about your healing journey, allowing the things to end that will end. This is a faded karmic moment over the next 6 months of endings, changes that are happening, things being paid out that need to be paid out, justice being paid, things coming undone. This is also the house that rules reversals. So this might be a moment where things are coming into like a reversed kind of energy. This moon, also, the new moon is also the ruler of your eighth house. So it might be a reversal of like a debt, that you owe, or the dissolving of a debt that you owe, you paying off a debt that you owe. Also, with the sun ruling your ninth house, it might be like a debt, or you might be receiving information, or might be incurring new debt when it comes to like higher education or something like that, or you could be receiving a grant or some type of money to help pay for school. Could be simple as that. All right. So Mars stations retrograde in Gemini in your seventh house. So there's going to be a review of your commitments, your relationships, whether they're intimate or platonic. And also, just contracts and things that you actually just committed to. Right. Could be jobs. It could be any kind of commitments that you've made, and just kind of a review of that, and just allowing certain things to be eliminated. You might not feel as charged or as motivated to your commitment. So the key is to tap into that fifth house energy of what lights you up and what brings you joy, and allowing the things that no longer bring you joy to dissolve, right? Since this Mars energy rules your fifth and your 12th house. Okay. So keeping that in mind, there also might be like an activation or a reevaluation of a relationship that comes up. All right, so Capricorn and Capricorn rising. The full moon in Aries happens in your fourth house. And with the full moon happening in your fourth house, this could be a culmination of your home and family, your influential, the influential women in your life, your sense of stability, your foundation of your home. All those things that are hidden in the dark come into the light as the full moon illuminates on them, those shadowy parts of our home, right? Also, just recognizing how far you have come. Also, this could indicate like a relationship, since the moon is the ruler of your seventh house. It could be the relationship that you have like with a friend that's a woman, or maybe your own mother, and that come into a full head, a full culminating experience where there's like some inner child healing or some healing that needs to happen within your family lineage, and you're accessing that, you're working through the generational trauma, things of that nature, and just kind of recognizing that, and this is happening through a connection or through a commitment or a relationship that you have with someone else. Also, this could indicate like an ending of a relationship as well, or the ending of a contract. So maybe you're selling your home, or you're looking to sell your home. That could be something as well. Then we have this new moon solar eclipse that happens at 1 degree in Scorpio, and this is in your 11th house. So, with this new moon being in your 11th house, this is setting new intentions. This is a new beginning, a new path, a new cycle towards your material gains, your networking circles, your goals, your vision for life, just embarking on that journey. So, setting those intentions surrounding that energy as well. So, you might be setting intentions or receiving something that is going to yield, new gains, new goals, maybe even meeting new people, new friendships, developing new circles, new social connections. Also, this could indicate a new relationship, right? With the moon ruling your seventh house, you could be going into like a marriage. You might be getting proposed to at this time. The sun is also the ruler of your eighth house, right? So this is intimate relationships, joining with another, joint finances. So this also might be something that comes up for you at this time. Now, Mars is stationing retrograde in the sign of Gemini in your sixth house. So it's going to be a review of, maybe a health situation, maybe some like inflammation or a nervous system issue that you're having. um you know MS is something that could be going on with Mars being in the sign of Gemini. um and that also might be something that's going on, and you could be reviewing that. That could be something that comes up for you during this time, where it might be like a health situation that you have to revisit. You might not, be as motivated, or you might have to actually actively, go after, taking care of this health thing. Now also what this could indicate is that work, your daily habits, your daily routines have been really busy, and now it's going to be a time for you to kind of reevaluate your daily habits and routines, so that way you're not experiencing burnout, especially when it comes to, all the things that you're doing if you are a mother or with your mom, right? Since Mars was your fourth house and things of that nature. This also could be like an indication of a new contract or some kind of legal situation where you're signing to sell a home during this time, to receive material gains. That kind of thing could be going on as well. Okay. Now, for Aquarius and Aquarius rising, the full moon in Aries happens in your third house. And so this has a lot to do with your immediate environment, your siblings, your small business, your vehicles, your skills, your trades, your perceptions and the way you communicate, all of that, information. Excuse me. So, with the moon coming to this full moon culminating experience and this illuminating the shadowy parts of those third house energies, you could really be recognizing some things, but also you could be releasing, right? Full moons are a time for releasing. So you could be releasing something when it comes to like a small business, or you could be finishing or wrapping up a course, or, a trade or a skill that you are currently taking in. You could just simply be wrapping up, finishing a really good book. Also, maybe you are in training for work with the moon ruling your sixth house. And so this is like the ending of training. And so, or you could be moving into that position as a trainer, moving into new lines of work as well. Okay. Then we have this new moon solar eclipse that happens in Scorpio in your 10th house. So this is like a new beginning for business, a new beginning when it comes to career, your public image, your social status could be shifting as well over the next 6 months. It's a new cycle for all of that, especially pertaining work with the moon ruling your sixth house, your daily habits and routines. So you're having to, commit, maybe signing a contract with the sun ruling your seventh house. So having to, commit to something, maybe committing to a new job. This is an indication of that energy as well. And then Mars is stationing retrograde in Gemini in your fifth house. And so, with Mars retrograding through your fifth house, it might be a review or a revisit of what used to light you up, and kind of picking those old habits and things back up. So that way you're not experiencing burnout. That way you are able to stay ignited. You're staying full of life. You're staying connected to your authenticity, especially with Mars ruling your third house. So it might be that you pick up dancing again, or you might pick up hiking or something like that, whatever that requires your movement, maybe even working out. Also, you might be picking up an old book, and that could be something that lit you up once before, or picking up, reviewing the way that you have been going about doing your business, right? Third house is communication expression, fifth house is creative self expression, 10th house is public image. So, like, if you are, a performer or a singer, right? Because third house is also like your vocals and things like that, right? Speech. It could be something that you are, reviewing. So you might not be as busy. You might be taking a break so you can reevaluate, the work that you're doing in this area of your life. Okay. So last but not least, we have Pisces. So Pisces and Pisces rising. We have the full moon in Aries that happens in your second house. So this has a lot to do with a lot coming to a head when it comes to your finances and your relationships, your material possessions, your values. So with this coming to a head is shining a light on those shadowy parts of those areas of your life. The moon is the ruler of your fifth house, so it has a lot to do with your values to your children, your creative expression when it comes to, how you value things, your relationships, your romantic life. That could also be something really kind of seeing what lights you up, really experiencing joy and fun in your life at this time and valuing that aspect of things. Also, you could be just receiving money or investing in something creative at this time as well. And then we have this new moon that happens. It's a new moon solar eclipse in Scorpio in your ninth house. So this is a new path towards your education, a new cycle towards, your actual life path. What is it you're supposed to do? Maybe getting a new mentor. The moon is the ruler of your fifth house, right? That's Cancer. So something creative, your sense of expression. The sun is the ruler of your sixth house. So it has a lot to do with your daily habits, your daily routines, being very devoted because it's in Scorpio in this area. So you could be, taking on like a sociology class or something if you're in school, something to do with like the psyche or, psychology, so to speak. Okay. And then we have Mars stationing retrograde in Gemini. And this is in your fourth house. So you might not be as motivated, the inner workings of the home might not be as busy as they once were. You might actually have some time to rest and relax during this time and just really focus in that area, focusing at the home and focus on resting within the home, and also kind of reevaluating the things that are needed within the home, right? With Mars ruling your second house, right? So investing in that, your material possessions, things that you own, also. So this could be something. Also, this could be like an indication of a relationship with an influential woman in your life as well, kind of like reevaluating, not in like a negative aspect, but just kind of reevaluating the passion and the connection in that essence, the path of where things are going. Okay. So that is all that I have for you all for the month of October. It does look a little intense for the most part, but ultimately, Scorpio season and eclipse season always brings some type of um intense vibe, so that way we can shift the trajectory of things and go down the fated path, find the direction that we signed up for here. All right, so I hope you all have a wonderful month ahead. Look out for all of the other readings that are coming out. And I will be, posting shorts throughout the month, as I always do, about the individual transits to go deeper into it or just to remind you that it's here. Okay. So, as always, have a wonderful month ahead, and I look forward to connecting with you all. Make sure you follow, like, and share, subscribe, or however you do, whatever it's called. Do all those things. And yeah, talk to you soon.